From our studios in Scottsdale, Arizona, this is Retirement News Online. So when markets move quickly and headlines change daily, a lot of people want to know how their advisor is staying proactive with investments, not just setting it and forgetting it. Active portfolio management is about responding to market conditions, managing risk, and helping clients stay aligned with their long-term goals. Joining me is Kenny Uhlich with Actus Capital Management, a member of Advisory Services Network, LLC in Mandeville, Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
How are things in Louisiana these days?
Things are really great. It's a great time to be in Louisiana.
Well, so when we're talking about active management, so how do you monitor and adjust client portfolios during changing market environments? Like, we're in kind of an unusual,
Sure.
Everybody hates this bull market for some reason, but
Right.
How do you make those adjustments or decide when to?
Well, there's a couple of factors to it. I think that our philosophy, our whole process is driven by a philosophy that first focuses on preservation of capital, or on trying to make sure that we preserve capital. Then we begin to think about growing it so that people can enjoy their wealth, right? Those three distinct areas. And so what we've done is we try to structure all of our portfolios as best we can around an endowment type model. The same way that big universities have been able to create growth over a number of different market cycles, we strive to do the same thing, looking at different asset classes that go into these portfolios. Now, to answer your question about the specifics of what we do, we've developed a number of really great algorithms over the course of the past 2 decades. So those algorithms back up our philosophy, and they allow us to remain disciplined in the midst of all these different changing markets, so just like we're seeing right now.
And I guess too, it sounds like when you're rebalancing or looking at the endowment model, we're not just talking about equities. You're using
Sure.
a bunch of different things, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So it goes into bonds, commodities, it goes into the equities that you just now mentioned, indexing. But one of the big problems that I think people have experienced over the past couple of years is they allow emotion to get into the process, right? And so a lot of surveys and some studies have come out and borne that out over the past 20 years, is that emotion becomes one of the greatest predictors of what goes on in your portfolio, that emotional risk. And so what we try to do is take that out, even from ourselves, right? So that we have systems and processes that allow us to make the right decisions, or at least modify the portfolios the best we can, looking at what's going on inside the market. So we do that on a weekly or even a monthly basis, depending on what's going on in the market. So when we see that allows us to begin to tilt our models to a manner in which we think is best for the clients.
So let's talk about emotion. Let's go back to
Yeah.
April when the market dumped 3,000 points, opening bell
Right.
on that day. So you were talking about emotion. You were talking about trying to get people to understand this may not be the time to knee-jerk. But how did you handle that?
Yeah, so it's, I live in Louisiana, so we don't play hockey, but like the story of you want to be where the puck is going,
right,
as best you can, because the markets are always going to be moving and there's no guarantees in the market. But what we began to recognize, we began to move our models actually back in December and January. So a lot of those same things that we began to experience in April, we were, for the most part, relatively prepared for as far as how we wanted our portfolios to perform. So we weathered those storms, and that allowed us, because we were prepared, to tell our clients and have those conversations with our clients in advance and say, look, we believe that there's going to be something nasty in the market that's coming. This is why. These are the statistical and the fundamental reasons that we believe something is happening. We don't know when, we can't predict it, but we're ready for it as best as we can be. We've put some guardrails in to try to protect as much as we can, while also trying to get some growth out of the market even when it goes sideways. So our clients were ready, and that's where I think the element also of being prepared, but also being in good communication with your clients, so they know what's going on.
Yeah, and I guess the last question now, with the market essentially being overvalued from a lot of people's perspectives, but we still see things that don't really make much sense. I mean, earnings are good. There's a lot of indicators that things are fine. The market is strong. But what are you doing right now? What are you looking at? How are you helping clients, or what are you talking to them about?
So a couple pieces, because most of the clients that we see have the same portfolios from different advisors. Right? The same thing over and over and over again. They're overly weighted, usually in tech or in large cap. And so what we want to do is first things first, is do a review of where their portfolio is, and then begin to establish what are some of the basic ground rules and the premises that we need to begin to install in a portfolio to optimize it over the course of, let's say, 12 months or 18 months. And some of that may actually include some defensive positions, like using options. So one of the things that I think is a little uncommon for what we do from a lot of other advisors is we actually layer really conservative option strategies into our portfolios.
Kenny, thank you so much. He's Kenny Uhlich in Mandeville, Louisiana. You can tell that he knows what he's talking about. And this is Retirement News Online. Thanks for watching.